Hey there everybody, hope you're having a great day. This video is going to be capturing some of the best fights that I had in the final week of Alliance Wars Season 32. I was out of town for about a week, so I fell behind on the upload schedule, which is a little bit of a shame because this was the best finish that SSX has ever had in its history. We finished top 3 in Alliance War, which was absolutely outstanding, a 9-3 record. The officers, the players, everybody was just, on like full throttle the entire season. We played extremely well against some very, very difficult opponents. Definitely earned that spot, and unfortunately I won't be able to show you all the footage. I took a poll on the channel to see if you did want to see all the wars, but the majority voted for just a highlight reel, which I agree is a good choice given that the season has already passed and we've kind of moved on to bigger and better things. But regardless, we're going to be seeing 3 wars, and this first one was actually a rematch against 4 Loki. We lost to 4 Loki in the first war. This is war number 10. And we were looking for just a little bit of revenge because we typically don't beat 4 Loki. And we were also looking, every win was needed if we were going to keep up the pace of staying in the top 10 of Alliance War. So the fun thing is that I was able to take in some new champions that were not making appearances throughout the earlier part of the season in this final week. And one of them was actually Cosmic Ghost Rider. And I ended up taking 3 fights on this initial Path 7 into the mini-boss of Warlock. And most of them were over pretty quickly, but I did want to show this Mysterio fight. Now I'm putting on these Odin pre-fights because they're going to help me against the Warlock. Just the more buffs you have, the better. And instead of using the advanced power boost that I just used on a Hitmonkey before, I went for Invuln in case I pushed him to a special 3. This has Vivified, which is very dangerous against Mysterio because both of his specials are bad times for Cosmic Ghost Rider. So right there, very, very freely throws that. The other thing about the Odin pre-fights is that it's going to put an aptitude on us. So we actually start with one of our judgments. We've procced the Vigilance Judgment. Next, we're going to do a power gain. He throws that special right away. I don't want to Dex. I know it's a little bit of a meme with Cosmic Ghost Rider to not Dex, but I actually really don't want to Dex because I want to be able to get that precision buff. But of course, I get cornered. The brute force is going against me, so I probably should have just Dexed, right? But either way, we have the aptitude from Odin. We're going to be throwing this, which puts a Fury. It's going to finish our Judgment cycle, and then maybe we can try again the second time. So I get that precision off of me. I'm pretty close to a special 2 because of the power back boost, and now I'm just going to throw that special 2 and it's going to do plenty. So yeah, a little bit scary. Fortunately, I didn't panic, but I was just kind of cracking up at how fast he was throwing those L1s right at me, and I didn't want to counter into it because of the damage back and everything. So yeah, a little bit of a oh no moment there, but fortunately this war was super close and I didn't give up an early death. Now, I've been showing you so much Nebula gameplay, but this is the only time in the entire season that I went up against Node 23 with Nebula, and I just wanted to kind of show this interaction. Now, we know from the past on my channel, as we say hello to Enzo here with his rank 3 Nimrod on Node 23, that Nebula is basically able to turn off any node that is going to be giving abilities to robots as long as she gets to 5 amp charges. So what we're going to see here is we obviously can't turn off power focus 1 because that's just like a mechanic of the fight itself. But once we get to our 5 amp charges, we're basically going to be turning off Mixmaster, which means we can combo freely into Nimrod and it's no problem. Additionally, we are turning off the aggression prowess node, so we can see here that I don't really need to be super aggressive and worry about that. I think that's one of the reasons that this is a decent placement if you don't have Nebula, is because his special 1 is one of those specials where I can dex it most of the time. Sometimes I'm a little late and I take some blocked hits. sometimes if you are very late or very early, you can actually, get hit by it. And even without the prowess effects on him, it actually is taking away a decent amount of my health just by occasionally blocking those special ones. So I could see that if those prowesses were building up, that it would actually hurt and he would just keep throwing those special ones. But now we're going into the rotation where we throw our special 3 that puts us in weapon overcharge. And now this is where power focus 1 is actually working to our advantage, because we can be very, very aggressive and not worry about pushing his power too much. So we are going to pretty much be able to get to a special 2 while the weapon overcharge is still on. So that means we can double up some of these shock effects, and they do a decent amount of damage. We're not running recoil here. It was just one of those wars where I didn't think we necessarily needed it. It could have definitely made this go faster, but I felt pretty safe the entire time, so it wasn't really too big of a deal to not have it on. And I think this either was the last Nebula fight, or it was something like I wouldn't feel bad about healing for one more fight. So yeah, just another example of her completely turning off a robot. And we did end up winning this first war. We did end up sweeping the entire week. So now moving on to the second war, this is war number 11. We went up against Salty, which was another rematch, and it was one that we had lost the first time we faced them. They really showed up and did a great job. And this one was fun because just like getting to use CGR, who's one of my top 5 favorite champions, I made a video about that saying who my favorite champions were. CGR was in it. Wasp is also in my top 5. And this is my first time since she's been off defense that I brought her in. Now this has power focus 2, which is very dangerous for Longshot. The things to worry about with Longshot are when he has Pure of Heart, if you get clipped by a special 1, it's the instant bleeds. When he has Pure of Heart and he throws a special 2, you are going to be getting the Fate Seal on you on activation, which is probably going to be doing a lot of direct incinerate damage toward you. So he's just going to have specials for days here. My game plan is basically parry medium into the heavy, because when you hit him while he's stunned, you're basically going to be able to not have to worry about his good karma getting too high. Now right there, I actually perfect blocked the special 2, which was just an example of why I run the perfect block mastery. And it's one of those situations where, it's only 4% chance to perfect block. As we chain that last special 2, he's hopefully going to just power sting himself to death, or this will kill him, and that does the job. So just lots of damage, lots of guaranteed crits. But just to mention that perfect block mastery, it does come in handy every once in a while. 1 out of every 25 hits is the odds. But yeah, we got a really nice perfect block chance there, which was pretty funny, but it was nice. But yeah, Wasp, lots of damage per hit. She has the heavy. She has the ability to hit him while stunned, which is just really, really going to help. Now this next fight is Node 22 Power Snack Venom. This was a fairly popular placement. My first time taking it with Sorcerer. We are pretty well boosted up, and we're going for the invuln just because of the backup recovery, the Power Snack. If he gets to a special 3, we'll survive the special 3 for sure if we have the invuln. And then I also have the bonus little special 3 damage here. But this fight to me is going to be a showcase of all the utility that she has while finishing at 100% health. So we start off in the shield mode, and I'm not too worried about the unstoppable armor because those can only happen if he procs an armor buff, so we just got to watch both of his timers. I decide to throw the special one there. It gives us the regen on block, which you're going to see is the main strategy here is to avoid Dex by just, blocking his specials and regenning on the block. So there, it does expire, but the first hit we do get the nice blocked regen. Now I'm waiting for blue mode so I can heavy attack. That changes modes to Icon's Ingenuity, which is our slow mode. We are going to, just like we did with the Black Panther Civil War bosses and other fights that we've had with unstoppable armor, the game plan is to just throw the special 3 when purple mode is on, because this banks the slow debuff for the entire fight. So now the main debuffs that we want to be using here are, of course, the regen on block as well as the slow. I did a heavy attack there because I want to get a nice long regen on block for the rest of the fight. And at this point, we're in great shape. So there you can see we're basically regenning back to 100% health. I like throwing the special ones because they have the nullification aura, so that's going to help us with Mystic Dispersion. That's going to help control, make sure that his damage doesn't get out of control. Now we've put an armor break on him, which is just even more damage. He has 0 buffs on him. We just block that special 2, take no damage from it. We're at a full yellow bar, throwing another special 3 just because Mystic Dispersion sent us here. But this to me, like if I was to pick a fight, this isn't the hardest fight in the world for Sorcerer Supreme, but if I was to pick a fight that showcased every little piece of utility that she has, it would be this fight. It's got the nullification, it's got the regen on block to avoid dex, it's got the slow for unstoppable armor, it's got the armor breaks to, stop his armor and for more damage. I just think it's incredible. It's incredible to just see that all work out like that. And my love for Sorcerer Supreme has grown so heavily in this season, especially. She was another one that was on my high ground defense, and when it was great to see her out. Now, believe it or not, this is about to be my only ghost fight of the entire Alliance War season. Part of the reason we used Wasp earlier was because there was this ghost fight that we wanted. It was one of the few wars that ghost wasn't banned. This is the node that has Conflictor on it, which is of course pretty dangerous for a champion that's going to be putting poisons on himself. Additionally, if we parry and things like that, it's going to be giving him lots of power. So here we're just going to be doing normal ghost stuff and just hope that we get some poisons on us and just use the power back boost. But I did want to include it because it was the one ghost fight of the whole season. So we only had 1 Fury on us at that point. Now we're going to do another special 2, and this is where it gets a little sketch. I think he dashes at me, so I dash back, and I was going to just chain that into a special. I accidentally re-parried on instinct, so now I'm waiting for my precision to go away. I was watching for it to go away, and then we phase into our final special there. Finally, this was a fight that originally wasn't going to be assigned to Sorcerer Supreme, but we talked about it. I remember this very clearly. I was pretty nervous about it, but then I looked and I noticed that the Super Skrull was unduped, which means that he will not be getting power gain buffs. And the power gain buffs that he would be getting the increased power gain node here on node 54. So that could have definitely been dangerous because special 2 is very, very bad here. You can't do anything about it because it's unblockable. So we're going to heal up. This was a fight I wasn't mentally prepared for, but it was a fight that I knew Sorcerer could do. I'm going to do this the same way that I've done the boss kills before, which is we start in the slow purple mode, just double checking that it did stick, and it does. You can see this is already the next day. There are only 5 or 6 hours left in the war, so I never love fighting on the second day of war. It's just for some reason I get in a nice rhythm at night. So obviously I'm a little nervous about this one. So we're fully boosted. We're using as many of the mystic boosts as we can. And the goal is mostly to be watch out for the falter, watch out for unstoppable armor, bank a slow, and as much as we can, we just want to bait those special ones as soon as we can. He will not have any passive power gain of any kind, but because of aspect of evolution, his combat power rate is going to go up. So we start off by intercepting with a special. We get a slow on him, which is going to help us build up to our special 3. Now we're just waiting for the purple icon to show up, and I'm looking at his falter timer and I'm like, oh, I think I should hit his block before throwing this, but of course I forget that's going to give him unstoppable armor. So he did retaliate off of that unstoppable. We took some damage. That wasn't great, but fortunately it wasn't that bad. His base attack is not very high in terms of like him hitting you a couple times, and we also get the adrenaline regeneration there. So now we've banked slow, so hopefully that means unstoppable armor is off for the rest of this entire fight. I dueled him a lot to practice the dash in and dash out technique on a special 1. I think that's very important because we're going to see later that actually helps me with the falter a few times in this fight. It's a way to deal with the falter mid special attack. So here the falter is on us. He has a special 1. He throws it. We cancel the falter by hitting him mid-special like that. And now we're in business because we have armor breaks on him. The slows keep applying. We just got to bait these special 1s and not get cornered. So I'm not super nervous at this point because we are well ahead of the game here. He's under 50% health. We're still very high on health. I don't think he's gained enough bars of power so that the aspect of evolution is a problem. Fortunately, that special 3 was thrown with some armor breaks on him, so it did even more damage, which was quite nice. And this special 2 is pretty much going to do it. So we only need to tap him a couple more times with this special 1, and that's going to be the end of Skrull, and we ended with a full yellow bar. So that is Sorcerer Supreme in a nutshell. Had so many interesting fights with her this season. And again, we went on to win war number 11 after Strands got this Nimrod boss with the Spider-Man 2099. And now we were in great shape going into the last war. So this is clips from the final war. We went up against NewN. It was a very difficult matchup. They are definitely one of the best alliances out there. I just showed the end of that. It happened to be a rank 4 Silver Surfer, just soloed with Kingpin, 100% health at the end. Just absolutely beasted that fight. But now, again, following the trend of new champions that I've never used in war, we saw Wasp before. Now we're going to see Hood. In my first ever debut of using Hood in war, ironically against Kingpin himself, his favorite synergy partner. This has Power Focus 2. It has the ionized armor, so we just got to watch out for the Unstoppables. And we're going to have plenty of staggers. We're going to have Fate Seal off of the special 2, but this also has Hurt Locker, so I can't just spam special 2s. And I do know that if I push him to a special 2, we can likely stagger the Unstoppable that he gets off of it, but it is a little risky. The power gain is just going to be pretty insane because he gets combat power rate off of his rage stacks as it is. And then additionally, it's got Power Focus 2. So we're already a little bit cornered here. And I just decide I've got the Fate Seal. I've got the stagger up. Hopefully we can bait this special 2 while at least one of them is up. And I believe we were able to consume the Unstoppable there, which was pretty nice. Now, here's an unfortunate thing. I'm watching my hexes on him, and I'm realizing that I have the Hurt Locker, so I can't throw my special 2. And I believe if I had just tried to detonate those hexes right around now, I bet it would have finished him. But in trying to bait this special, the hexes fall off, and they do a ton of damage, but it's just ends up being a lot more damage if you do the hexes with your heavy attack instead. So that probably would have killed him. That's my own problem. However, I'm still very safely facing this fight. We throw this while he has over 2 bars of power, and because of the Power Focus 2, it doesn't give him as enough power to give him a special 3. That's an important point, is to throw the special 3 when he's over the 2 bars of power and he's already suffering the lower combat power rate that is associated with Power Focus 2. So now again, just watching these Unstoppables, there's the passives, there's the not passives, he's throwing his heavies, and we just finish him with a combo. So that was the scariest fight for me, for sure. I was just a little worried about the first time ever using Hood against a pretty annoying power gain and unstoppable armor type defender. And finally, I'm going to show you my final 2 fights of the season. These are fights you've seen on the channel before, but I think they just went exceptionally well and are really good examples of how to take these 2 fights. So we've got the rank 4 Doom. We faced more rank 4s on this map by NewN than we had all season, just with the dawn of 7.4 and everything. I think there were like 5 rank 4s on the field. I fought the Surfer earlier, who really wasn't much of a problem. And then this Doom is definitely a node that gives people some scary feelings. For sure, it's got Hazard Shift with the bleed, as well as the shock. I'm assuming that he's running deep wounds so that if we get any of these bleeds on us, they're going to go for a pretty long time. Additionally, if we get any of these shocks on us, he can just heavy attack us. So yeah, definitely invuln boost. And the one thing that I do differently in this fight, as we proc a dex to start off, so that could have definitely gone wrong, but I think that's one of the only mistakes I make in the fight. The main difference between this fight and like 3 wars ago is that I'm going to only be throwing my special 1s and I'm only going to be baiting his special 2s. And the reason for that is I want to avoid the aura at all costs. I'm very comfortable with this special 2. You're going to see that we have like a 100% batting average today on baiting that special 2 without taking any blocked hits. It goes very well. And the thing about our special 1, it reduces ability accuracy a little bit, and it's also a weakness debuff on him, and in addition to the direct damage from just the degeneration there. So because his crit rates, his crit resistance is so high, the degeneration is just another way for us to do damage. And additionally, a weakness against Doom, who has like the second highest base attack in the game, next to Omega Sentinel now apparently, is not a bad thing. We like having a weakness on a very strong champ like this who can heavy attack us into oblivion. So I am running recoil, which means like the most of the damage that I'm taking right now is when these debuffs are ticking on me and the recoil that happens. But this is my last Kingpin fight, and I think it's a sacrifice worth making because with those masteries on, it only takes 90 seconds to get this rank 4 Doom down, unduped Kingpin, really good special 2 evades, good strategy with the special 1. I'm feeling very good about that fight. Now, there was one fight that I'm not showing of this bishop where I actually gave up a death earlier in the season, and I believe it had to do with input issues, and I don't throw that around liberally and blame the game, but everyone that saw my clip, my block was not working and I was just getting smashed in the corner. So I was obviously a little nervous because this war was super close. We were only up by 1 attack bonus at this point and the war was almost over. So I really wanted to do everything in my power to get this fight down. We start with the power start 1. And the thing I realized about this fight that I didn't execute before was that I don't have to nuke this down. You know, when you nuke it down, you take some direct damage. He's got energy resistance, so he's not going to be taking as much shock damage. But I can win this fight by being a tech champion that doesn't give him prowess on basic hits and just being immune to bleed and shock. Like if I just did basic hits only, then I would be able to get him down because I'm immune to both of the debuffs. We have class advantage. But you can see there, we didn't have to charge the heavy because of the shock immunity. We transfer it over. That pretty much brings him down. But the one difference about this fight is I didn't let him throw any special 1s. I'm okay baiting a special 2 here. I've got plenty of health to play with. I can even block the first part of it and not worry about it. And that's about it. We're just going to transfer over these remaining shocks, throw a special 1 to get him down. So yeah, I really was just thinking in my head, hey, we've got the immunities, so hazard shift is taken care of. We've got class advantage, so we don't have to worry about prowesses and unblockable specials. We'll take a little bit of damage off of his kit, but other than that, we've got this fight down and it shouldn't be a problem. I think the one time that I died this season, I was focusing too much on the nuke itself, and that was the issue. So we ended up winning this war against NewN. I only had 5 fights, and the rest of my team just absolutely smashed it. BG3 got another donut. We got 5 donuts out of the 12 wars this season, which is the best we've ever done. In fact, BG3 got the highest score of a BG in the history of SSX, and we know that because we have like OG members with us. So we died fewer times than any battle group in the history of SSX this season, and I think so much of that has to do with our current talent in the group. We've just mostly been running with the same group of guys ever since I got here last July. Maybe the same 8, but definitely Meta S has come back, and Meta is just a great smart player. He will do anything in his power, like masteries, boost like champions, ranking up champions for us, as well as just amazing gameplay. And then my buddy Plant Based recently joined us as well. He and I played together about like maybe 18 months ago. We started playing together, and he joined SSX, and then he actually was the newest member of BG3. And I just think having them and just some of the usual suspects that you've heard of, like, DLL, Tavre, JT, Taint, Caesar, Smio, all the folks that you all know, Strands, of course, having that entire group together and then just a few additions, it really just brought us to the next level. And it was really all coming down to DLL's plans as well. I had a very, very busy month. I helped with AQ. I helped with the defense setting, which is definitely a part of the planning and everything. But when it came to the actual war plans, DLL knew that I was going to be busy at work. I had a little vacation toward the end, and he planned every single war. And, those donuts that we got were partially because of the gameplay. But man, those plans that we had were so solid. We were using so many amazing counters. You saw on my channel, it wasn't just about Apocalypse and Nebula. There was lots of interesting champions. The dawn of Sorcerer Supreme on my account, first time ever using her. Fun champions like Wasp and Hood and CGR and things like that. It was just an amazing, amazing season. Elsa even made her return for me. So yeah, just completely over the moon about our performance. We did finish top 3 in the world when it came to Alliance War this season, and it was just based on everybody that was doing what they could to make sure that we would always be winning and going up against some very difficult opponents, feeling like we could win on any given day. That we knew that every defense, it didn't matter what alliance tag was there, that we would approach it the same way, do what we needed to do and get it done. So very, very proud of this group. I will be showing you the rewards a little bit later this week, so definitely come and check that out. I hope you enjoyed this style of video, perhaps learned something along the way, and saw some interesting fights. So have a great week, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.